My name is J. Randall Wilkerson. I'm author of the Heart Failure Recovery Plan, Successful Heart Regeneration Using Metabolic Enzymes. This is part 6 of a 58-part video series, and we will be covering Chapter 4 under Detoxification. You might wonder, why on earth would detoxification be so important for heart failure treatment, or heart disease for that matter? Well, it turns out that heavy metal ions in the bloodstream that we intake from our food oxidize or destroy the enzymes and amino acids and as well vitamins that are necessary for recovery from heart failure. These heavy metal ions include mercury from fish and other sources, as well as vegetables. It includes lead, aluminum, nickel. Several of these metals all are accumulating in our foods, primarily due to contamination as well as the effect of acid rain. When rainwater goes from neutral pH to acidity, it enables the plants that we get our foods from to absorb these heavy metals from the soil. And therefore, there has been a dramatic increase in metal accumulation in the blood. Blood test and urine test, of course, can detect these levels and have been used in some clinical studies where doctors were apprised of the effects of blood metal interfering with their clinical study. There are many baked food products that contain aluminum, like baking powder, stabilizers in baking products. Pickles contain aluminum for preserving. They'll call it alum, A-L-U-M, so that it doesn't look like you're eating aluminum, but that is what it means. It's potassium alum. Some antiperspirants, as well as aluminum baking and cooking pans, are used in the United States. In Europe, aluminum cookware is banned. It's so harmful to the body, yet in the United States is still permitted. Some cheese foods use sodium aluminum phosphate. There are so many sources we can't list them all, but needless to say, you need to detoxify them from your bloodstream in order for the enzymes in this book to work. Heavy metals form what is called a wild card. They can interfere with clinical studies and make those studies fail. And also, this can impact the medications you take, from antibiotics to heart medication drugs. If your blood level is too high in aluminum, mercury, and all of the heavy metals, then they are destroying the medications that you are taking. There are several ways to detoxify. There's some that are colloquial, that is naturopathic doctors have prescribed them based upon theories and studies that they have read. However, we're going to stick to those that are covered by clinical studies. The first one is cilantro, also known as Chinese parsley. Dr. Omura at the Heart Disease Research Foundation in New York accidentally discovered that cilantro caused his human test subjects to excrete heavy metals from their body. He was monitoring levels of aluminum, lead, and mercury during a study on antibiotic treatment of chlamydia. And one test subject came in. Suddenly, the test results showed he was excreting most of the heavy metals in his body. So they investigated and asked him, well, what have you been eating? And it turned out he had just dined on a Vietnamese soup containing high levels of cilantro. It was just filled with Chinese parsley, or cilantro. So when they added that to the diet of the other test subjects, they found that their antibiotic therapy went from an effectiveness of 46% to 100% because the heavy metals in the bloodstream were destroying the antibiotics that they were taking. The same way they destroy the enzymes and amino acids that you need for heart failure recovery. Cilantro is best taken fresh. I throw in a large handful into a blender with vegetable juice each morning. You don't need to take it every morning. You just need to take it several times a week in order to make certain that heavy metals that you consume in your food are excreted by your kidneys and removed from your bloodstream. Our local market charges 50 cents a bundle, which lasts my wife and I 3 days. Walmart sells it for anywhere from 88 to 90 cents. So it's a very economical method of detoxification, and it is clinically proven and tested at the New York Heart Institute. A second recommended process is homeopathic detox. Whenever you hear the word homeopathic medicine, you often have clinical doctors up in arms that it's not true medicine. But I'm referring to clinical homeopathic medications that are taught in a university setting to PhD medical doctors all over Europe and several other countries in the world. The United States used to have 20 universities with clinical colleges of homeopathic medicine. However, those were shut down due to a turf battle between the pharmaceutical industry and the unpatentable, that is, homeopathic medicines cannot be patented, so therefore they could not profit from them as the patent medicines do today. You've heard the $8,000 pharmaceutical pill. Well, homeopathic medicine is about $6 or $7, maybe $8 for an entire vial. It needs to be used, though, in a true clinical method. Most of the homeopathic medicines that you find at a health food store are mixtures of several, maybe dozens of homeopathic medications. That was never tested or clinically trialed in clinical homeopathic medicine. And that's what I mean. Clinical homeopathic medicine was conducted using clinical trials on human test subjects. Only one medicine was tested at a time. So therefore, to detox, you would need to take only one at a time in one specific week. You could take a second one the next week and a third one the following week, but you cannot group them together because the results cannot be determined, and it is not recommended by PhD homeopathic doctors. The book contains a list of which medications remove mercury, lead, aluminum, nickel, arsenic, copper. There are others. Some of these have to be custom ordered because they do not treat any other disease. They are only used to remove metals from the bloodstream. If you have a homeopathic doctor, follow his recommendations because there's more than one way to use homeopathic medications, but do not use mixtures. No matter what it says on the bottle, that has never been proven or clinically tested. Third process that has been reported by Dr. Stephen Sinatra is to sweat out heavy metals. If you have class 4 heart failure, you cannot work up a sweat because you're too weak. Class 3 might be risky. But once you've reduced your risk to class 2 and class 1 as you improve, sweat is an extremely effective method of removing heavy metals from the body because the sweat glands pass it right out to your skin. Then you can wash it off. I often work out in the garden at 95 degrees heat using a broad fork to till the soil. This is a huge tilling fork with 12-inch long tines, almost 2 feet wide, that you push into the soil with your foot and flip the soil. It's extreme work even for a teenager, and I'm 61 years old, so you can imagine how much sweat I work up. It's necessary to take some breaks, of course, to prevent heat exhaustion, but it's an effective method. There's no question about it. A fourth step of possible removal of heavy metals is EDTA. This has been practiced as chelation therapy with IV solutions. Some recommend an oral variety. However, the cost is about $600 for a course of this treatment, and it's not effective on all of the heavy metals, primarily mercury and cadmium have the maximum results. Fifth level of treatment is vitamins and minerals. Vitamin C, selenium, and magnesium bind to heavy metals in the bloodstream. The quantities recommended in this book for treating heart failure are probably enough. There's no need to take any extra for this purpose. But these are secondary methods of detoxification. Now, there are precautions. When you detoxify with homeopathic or cilantro medications, or just raw cilantro as a vegetable, you will have to urinate more often because your kidneys are activated to flush out those metals. Don't take any medications to reduce your activity in the bathroom. Like, for example, there are advertisements for medications to prevent overactive bladder. You want your kidneys to remove these metals, so you should not stop your urination, nor should you reduce the amount of water you consume. There are some side effects to removing heavy metals. When I detox specifically aluminum, I have a dramatic reduction in anxiety levels, and basically I just wake up completely relaxed in the morning. When I detox from nickel, which is available in stainless steel cookware and tableware. Stainless steel ware that we use for food is 18% nickel, which is poisonous to humans, and yet nobody has outlawed it. Germany is preparing to outlaw it as part of the nickel-free movement so that there will be no nickel in food stainless ware. But removing nickel from your body dramatically increases your mental activity, as in the form of a much higher IQ. It's almost like a fog is lifted off the brain. There is a side effect in that if you are trying to cope with the world by having a fog on the brain or by drinking too much, this will remove that fog, and you could find it a bit of a shock to suddenly have a clear mind. What do you use besides the stainless steelware and pots and pans? Well, there's porcelain-coated cast iron pots, completely safe. Just porcelain is a glass. There's glassware. There are titanium flatware. There's silver-plated flatware available at many antique stores fairly cheaply. Sterling silver is safe because sterling, the silver is a safe metal for human consumption. Any positive galvanic metals like silver, gold, and titanium are completely safe to the human body. So the ultimate result in summary of this chapter 4 is you have to get the metal out. Get the lead out, get the aluminum and mercury before this treatment plan can be successful. Heavy metals are a wild card. They interfere with all forms of medical treatment, not just the supplements and enzymes in this book. My name is J. Randall Wilkerson. I'm the author of the Heart Failure Recovery Plan. This book is available at Amazon, both in print and Kindle edition, at the Apple iTunes Store. It's in print edition on eBay and directly from the publisher Wilkerson & Hughes, P.O. Box 777, Altoona, Florida 32702. Send a check for $24 and they will send one right out. Thank you for listening.